Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, my name is Dana, and today I'm going to be taking you along with me for a homemaking afternoon. If you saw my last video, you saw our morning rhythm, kind of what that looks like for us currently in this season of life, and kind of how our homeschool mornings have been looking as well. So today is going to be the afternoon part of our day and what that kind of looks like for our family. In today's video, I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys just a few of my all-time favorite recipes or staples. And I say recipes lightly because when it comes to cooking and baking, I'm one of those people that just kind of like toss stuff in the pan and not really follows an exact recipe. So I thought I would share you some of my favorite things to make that my family just loves. And what makes this really fun for me this afternoon is I'm going to be making kind of extra of everything to be taking over some food for my sister who just had a baby. So I am so excited to go see the baby tonight for the first time, take some yummy food to my sister. I think witnessing your younger siblings become a parent for the first time is just so much joy, and I love seeing them step into parenthood. So yes, all that to say is we're going to be making some food to take over to them tonight, but I'm going to be making like 2 pots of soup, extra bread and stuff like that, so we can have like 2 dinners going on at the same time. I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite go-to bread machine recipe, my favorite way to make soups and my soup stock and things like that, and then also, as I mentioned before, just some household cleaning. I have not cleaned up from lunch yet, so that's what I'm going to be working on this afternoon. And then I'm also going to be cleaning up our homeschool stuff and my toddler's activities that are all over the place. And yes, the house is just in need of some extra love right now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have beef short ribs as well as some beef like soup bones. I've had them on low overnight. So by the time I actually make the soup and cut up like the potatoes and carrots to put in it, it will have simmered for almost 24 hours. It is amazing. It's super rich. I love doing all of my broths this way because if I let it simmer for about 24 hours, then I'll normally do like half broth and half water and then make 2 like really big pots of stew. But because I've let it simmer for so long and it's gotten so much of like the fat off of the bones and things like that, it just makes it extremely rich, which means I can stretch it farther. So it does take more time to do it this way, but it's just, it tastes amazing. I'll show you what it looks like so far. Now, when I actually go and make the soup with all the potatoes and carrots and onions and things like that, I will go through like the beef short ribs and take off all of the actual roast pieces and then put that in the soup as well. But I love doing soups like this. It is so full of just all kinds of like nutrients, and it just tastes amazing. And you can see all the like actual fat on the top, so it's extremely rich and perfect. Hi! And just great, especially for like postpartum healing and things. So with the broth going, the other thing that I'm going to go ahead and start before I start my lunch cleanup is to go ahead and start the dough in the bread machine. I love baking all of our breads like any type of rolls. So we're gonna be making rolls tonight to go along with the stew for my sister and then again for our family as well. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna make a larger, the recipe that I'm gonna be using is like a recipe for 2 loaves of bread. I still like making the dough in here, but I don't like baking my bread in my bread machine anymore. I feel like it dries it out too much. It is an older bread machine, but I just don't like the actual size of the loaf. So I used to bake it in here. I just don't anymore. But what I found is when I make the dough in here, it does the kneading for me. It does the first rise for me. So I'm pretty much hands off with the dough, but I can still shape it into how I want it. So I love this. Huge time saver for me, and honestly saves me a lot of mess too because I just toss all the ingredients in here and let it do the work for me, which is great. So while the milk is warming up, I'll take that cup of warm water and then that 1/3 of a cup of sugar and dissolve the sugar in the warm water. And then let me grab the milk real quick. Warm milk. A really unique trick that I learned when it comes to proofing proofing the yeast and stuff is actually adding just a sprinkle of ginger. You cannot taste it in the bread because it's such a tiny amount, but it makes a huge difference on the actual activating the yeast. So that's a little trick I learned. I forgot where I learned that. It might have been on a random blog post or something. Anyway, that's that. And then I'm gonna grab the yeast really quick. looks like it's ready. I'm going to add in 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and then I'll use about 5 cups of flour. So this is what our school table looked like this morning after we finished our homeschool. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on cleaning that up. So I got lunch cleaned up, so as soon as I clean up our homeschool type things here, I will probably go ahead and start making the brownies because I want to go ahead and get those done and have them time to cool down before I actually cut them up and put them on like a serving tray. So I'm gonna do that as soon as I clean up this mess. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the book called Parent Differently. This is what it looks like. It's by Kathy Koch, I believe. It's raising kids with biblical character that changes culture. It's a really easy and simple read. I'm about 3/4 of the way done so far, and I really been enjoying it. So if you're looking for a book that is all about really instilling biblical character and focusing on character more than anything when it comes to biblical parenting, I highly recommend it. It's just been amazing. So I am a little bit old-fashioned when it comes to baking. Even though I have a lot of favorite recipes online, I just love leaving the cookbook open on the counter and just enjoying it that way. So let me find that recipe. I want to say it's on like 277. Let me go check to see if I have it on here. Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay, you can tell how often our family makes brownies because I had the pages memorized. So I'm probably going to end up doing the chocolate buttermilk brownies because I do have some goat milk in the fridge that we need to use up. So that's why I wanted to do the buttermilk ones, as we can do that. And I also have the chocolate buttermilk frosting. This is one of my favorite recipes for frosting on the brownies. And this is going to be the dessert that we make to take over to my sister tonight, and then as well as some extras for the kiddos. So they love brownies. It's one of our family's favorite desserts. So I'm excited to be making these. So we have a cup of water, 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder, and then it also says to add a cup of water into the mixture. So let me go grab that. That added in there. I did measure that out, by the way. I just put it into a cup. And then we're going to melt that all together. I'm gonna keep my eye on that and then go ahead and put together my flour mixture. So I need 2 cups of flour. Okay, and then it also needs a teaspoon of baking powder. So the brownies are in the oven. I'm going to wait till they're about 5 minutes before being done, and I'm gonna make the frosting. That way I can pour the warm frosting all over it, and that has a good hour to set. So it's plenty of time to let them completely cool off and set before serving them up. You wanna play with that? You wanna do this with spatula? Okay, careful, it's still hot there. The brownies are getting close to being done. The bread is still kneading and it's about to do its first rise. Once that's done, I'll get it out and then form the little rolls and then do the second rise before throwing those in the oven. And I think I'm going to try to get the vacuuming done and then the floor swept because they are desperately needing to be swept. They haven't been swept all day yet and it's already 3. So if you're in a little bit of a smaller house like us and then have little ones with snacks and everything, you know the floors can get really messy. So I'm gonna get that done, and then I think that's the only thing I'm gonna have time to do today before I have to start prepping the soup, because I like that to be able to slow simmer for at least an hour. But with that, I still have to do, like, the potatoes need peeled, carrots need peeled, and just everything needs, chopped and seasoned. That way I can like slow simmer for an hour. So that's what we're gonna do now. You okay? So that's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna go ahead and get the floors done because, like I said, they desperately need it. So every time we go to the library, we end up keeping all of our library books separate from our other bookshelf. So all of these books are probably the books that are scattered around the house the most because they're the newest ones and things like that. But I love having this cart just for library books. And the kiddos, if they go to the library with me, they each get their own little, like this is, you know, my youngest books and so forth. But they like doing it that way. That way they know where everything is at. Are you ready to get down? So the brownies are done. I put the frosting on already using that buttermilk frosting that I showed you earlier. And then I just sprinkled them with powdered sugar. So I'm gonna let them completely cool and I won't probably touch them for about an hour. So while these are cooling, I'm gonna go ahead and start peeling like the potatoes and carrots and get ready to put the soup together.